From a long-term strategy that is slowly taking over the world to maybe toppling the international trade landscape for decades to come, let's talk about China's plan to demolish North America's economy. And stay tuned to find out because it gets extremely shocking. China's 2025 vision. China's Made in China 2025 plan is a 10-year strategy to rapidly develop 10 key industries, including electric cars, artificial intelligence, and next-generation IT. They are using government funds, state-owned companies, and even some controversial tactics like intellectual property acquisition to catch up to and then surpass Western countries in technology. This has worried the US and other major democracies who see it as unfair and a security risk. As a result, countries like the US have imposed tariffs on Chinese goods and blocked Chinese acquisitions of technology firms. Meanwhile, others are tightening their oversight of foreign investment. China is trying to downplay the plan in response to the criticism, but their ambitions are clear. They want to become self-sufficient in high-tech and dominate the global market. This bold plan is sure to shape the future of the global economy and technology, and it's a situation we'll need to keep a close eye on. Why North America is afraid? The country's economic ambitions and their potential impact on North America is not just about economic competition, it's about the future of our economies, our jobs, and our global standing. For decades, the United States has enjoyed a comfortable lead in the global economic race. But over the past few years, China has been making some serious strides. At first, it seemed okay, but now it's getting a bit too much. You see, their economy is now the second largest in the world, and they are growing at an astonishing rate. But what's truly concerning is China's long-term economic strategy that aims to transform China into a global leader in high-technology industries like artificial intelligence, robotics, and semiconductors. These are the industries that will drive the future economy, and if China succeeds in dominating them, it could have a devastating impact on North America. Let's break down the facts. The numbers speak for themselves. China's economic growth is staggering. By 2025, their GDP is projected to reach a 27 trillion, surpassing the US's $25 trillion. This isn't just a superficial statistic. It reflects China's relentless investment in research and development, which has tripled in the last decade compared to the US's stagnant efforts. Furthermore, China's near-monopoly control over 70% of the world's rare earth minerals, essential components in high-tech products, grants them immense leverage in the global market. One thing's clear, China's economic rise is not just a trend, it's a force to be reckoned with, and its potential impact on North America demands our immediate attention and proactive response. How does it fit into China's economic model? China's ambitions for a high-tech future aren't new. Since the 1980s, their leadership has been steering the economy towards a mix of socialist planning and private enterprise, aiming to shift from resource extraction and low-wage manufacturing to a high-tech, high-productivity model. Programs like Made in China 2025 are just the latest step in this long-term strategy intended to propel China past the middle-income trap and solidify its position as a global tech leader. This shift has been fueled by government support for local production and innovation, a policy that dates back even further to the 2006 National Medium and Long-Term Plan. In a sense, China 2025 is just the next chapter in a decades-long journey towards technological dominance. How does it intend to achieve its goals? China's Made in China 2025 plan represents the country's commitment to their long-term ambition to become a global leader in high-tech industries. This plan goes beyond previous efforts by intensifying centralized planning and allocating substantial resources across government, private companies, and academia. The plan's strategies include explicit targets, direct subsidies, foreign investments and acquisitions, as well as mobilizing state-backed companies. Both public declarations and back-channel coordination set clear goals for both private and public entities, shaping their decision-making towards China 2025's priorities. At the same time, generous support from the government, including funding, low-interest loans, and tax breaks fuels the growth of targeted industries. Estimates suggest this could reach hundreds of billions of dollars, which is where foreign investment and acquisition come in. Chinese companies, both private and state-backed, aggressively acquire foreign firms, particularly in the semiconductor sector, to gain access to critical technologies. State-owned enterprises also play a major role, accounting for significant investment and a large portion of China's outbound investment. Many global tech leaders like Huawei and ZTE, though privately run, benefit from government support. Foreign companies often face pressure to share sensitive intellectual property and know-how as a condition for doing business in China. This tactic, facilitated through joint venture agreements, has raised concerns about unfair competition and intellectual property theft. While these strategies aim to propel China towards technological dominance, they also come with challenges. And one of these issues is WTO compliance. Some tactics raise concerns about violating WTO commitments and potential retaliation from other countries, while on the other hand, market distortion due to preferential treatment for Chinese companies can create an unfair playing field too. There's also a lot of techlash involving forced technology transfer that can exacerbate international tensions and trigger backlash from other countries. The success of China 2025 will depend on its ability to navigate these challenges and maintain a balance between its ambitious goals and international cooperation. Only time will tell whether China can achieve its vision of technological leadership without jeopardizing its global standing. What are the criticisms of China 2025? They feared that China's state-led approach, with its hefty subsidies and control over key industries, could pose a national security threat. They worried that China could dominate entire supply chains, like the one for cobalt used in electronics, giving them unmatched power. Critics also argued that China's practices distort the global market by prioritizing politics over economics, leading to overproduction and unfair competition. Companies from other countries complain that they face restrictions when operating in China, while Chinese companies have free rein to invest abroad. Because of this, there's a lot of tension in the region, raising questions about the future of global trade and tech leadership. How do China's actions compare with economic policies elsewhere? China's leaders justified their state-led industrial policy by pointing to the need for increased income and competitiveness in a rapidly changing global market. They highlight the income gap between China and developed nations, with China's per capita income at a mere $8,000 compared to the US's $56,000. On top of that, they argue that China is simply following the footsteps of successful developed nations like the US and Asian tigers, who used government support to nurture their own industries. However, European and US policymakers argued that China's approach is vastly different. European businesses cite the stark contrast between China's Made in China 2025 plan and Germany's Industry 4.0 plan, highlighting the significantly smaller and research-focused government subsidies in the latter. They also point to the lack of import replacement targets and quotas for indigenous production in Germany, alongside the open economy that welcomes foreign participation and competition. Western officials emphasize that while their markets are open to Chinese investments, access for their companies in China remains severely limited. This asymmetry is at the core of the ongoing tensions surrounding China's economic policies. What policy tools does the US have to respond? As China's industrial policy becomes increasingly perceived as a national security threat, the US has been playing its cards. Using existing legislation, Washington has taken steps to counter China's economic policies. One key tool is the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States, CFIUS, which reviews foreign investments and can block deals deemed a threat to US security. The agency has become more active under both Obama and Trump, but the Trump administration still feels it needs more authority and resources to effectively counter Chinese investments. In addition to CFIUS, the US has imposed tariffs and other trade measures. The Section 301 investigation resulted in tariffs on various Chinese goods, and Trump has threatened to further increase them. Targeting specific companies, the US has also restricted the activities of Huawei and ZTE over national security concerns. These actions have sparked debate about the role of the World Trade Organization (WTO). While the Trump administration believes the WTO is inadequate to address China's practices, others argue that with such effort, it could eventually reform China's economic model. How have other countries responded? Many other developed countries are taking a stand against China's trade and investment practices. Australia, which often receives Chinese investments, has tightened its oversight since 2016, rejecting bids related to agribusiness and electricity grids. Germany, with its strong high-tech manufacturing sector, has also become a favorite target for Chinese investments, sparking concerns about Chinese involvement in companies like Daimler and KUKA. This has led Berlin to call for a Europe-wide investment review body. France has also followed, imposing stricter regulations to prevent looting of sensitive technologies. However, smaller European countries fear that these restrictions could impact their economic growth. At the EU level, they have filed complaints at the WTO and imposed anti-dumping measures on various products. These issues are regularly discussed during EU-China summits, with the latest one in July 2018 resulting in a promise from China to improve market access and engage in further talks for a comprehensive investment agreement. The global response to China's economic policies is clearly intensifying, creating a complex landscape for international trade and investment. So, what do you think? Will China be able to topple the US's economy soon? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this.